Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining us. It's an honor to have you here.
It's my honor to be here with you, Jocko.
Now, I know you've been doing a decent amount of podcasts lately, which is awesome. It's awesome that we have some of our people inside of our government that are willing to just go out and do long-form podcasts, which it seems like in the past the government was very scared to do. Sit there and have conversations, people. It's very threatening. But let's just do a little bit of background for you. It's just a little bit about how you grew up, where you're from, etc. Georgia, right?
Yep, Georgia, North Georgia. And in fact, I still live there. Been all over the world, but North Georgia's home. That's where my bride's at, and been there forever. She's in D.C. right now, so it's great. Kids are there. I grew up in a sort of fairly just lower middle class home. My dad is a state trooper from Georgia, 31 years. I grew up a trooper's kid. Believe me, I fought the law won every time. I mean, he's 6'2", 250 pounds. I was a scrawny 6'4", 130 pounds soaking wet. It was his idea of fun was pick me up in high school and put me in the backseat of the car on the troll car on the way home. So it was it. Mom worked with senior adults, and so I grew up there and just had an inordinate desire to be involved in leadership, just to going and being a part of our society, giving what we've had back. Lisa and I got married right out of college, and at that time thought I was going to go on a different path. God led a different way. I had was doing some sales, doing some work, and then answered a call to ministry. Got a master's, pastored for over 11 years. During that time, I served a little bit in the Navy. I actually came out here to San Diego. Was my COT training, my commissioned officer training.
What year was that?
It was about 93 time frame, 94 time frame, and spent the summer. Was a little bit of time up at Pendleton.
Nice.
And doing a summer up there, and then spent for a couple of years. But I have when we started having kids, my daughter has spina bifida, my oldest daughter. She's 33. She still lives with us, but she works every day. I wish I had her attitude. So there's some things going on in the church going. So it was a chance for me to decide I needed it, because at the Navy wanted me to go full time, and it was just, I said. And
what were you doing in the Navy?
Chaplain.
You were a chaplain.
Yeah, chaplain candidate started there.
And did you work with the Marine Corps when you were out here?
Yeah, I did. So as most people, really, if you don't know from the outside, the Chaplain Corps, JAG Corps, mostly the Navy is supplying that to the Marine, and it was really a great time. So I've had the benefit. If you look at it over time, I've been with Marines, Navy, and Air Force. So I have a broad experience in each side. I got out for a little while I was pastoring, but in 2002 got back. I'd been wanting to go back in for about a year and a half, and then 2002 made it happen, and I've been there ever since, 24 years.
Was that September 11th?
A little bit. It was something I was missing it. When you're out, and I know most people feel this. I love being part of the Navy. And I wanted to back in, but couldn't find a way. And that just heightened it even more. It's going forward to saying, hey, I got to get back in this. And during that time was also a transition from the church. Been there 11 years. We had a great success at the church. But I've always felt like life is sort of a dirt road, old country dirt road from where I'm at up in the mountains. It's always twisting. And an opportunity opened up, and it was just something my wife and I had settled down. She said, something's wrong. And I said, yeah, it is. And I said, we got to fix it. And crazy enough, it seems it was to go back to what I originally thought I was going to do back when we first got married, and that's go to law school. And so here we are, 38 years old. I got 3 kids, a wife who teaches school, and I go back full-time to law school, leave the church. Wow. My only income was reserve pay that I had once a month when I was at the 94th Air Wing down at Dobbins. And
your wife agreed to all this.
Yeah, it's amazing. And she's pretty cool gal.
Wait, so how did you get to this point? You've got a good life going. You've got things squared away. You're doing good things. You're doing the Lord's work. Yep. And then one day she recognizes that, hey, something's wrong?
It had been going on for a little bit. It was one of those things that, it was, again, from a faith perspective, it's just I was leaving church, and we'd have, people come, people join. We'd had a building program. They're all going well. But by the time I was about a mile or two down the road, kids in the car, there was just a homesick feeling. It was just like something's missing. And so one day we're at home. She teaches school, and I was at the church, and she had to go to a doctor's appointment, and I had stayed at the house that day. And she got back, and I remember saying, I'm miserable. And she said, and of course in Lisa format, my little wife is 5'2", little nothing. She looked at me, and then she looked at me and said, what are you going to do about it? Well, thanks, honey. Where's that hug and saying, oh, I know, you're there. And it was, so what are you going to do about it? And that's when we just sat down and we just had an honest conversation about where we were and what we wanted to do. And we knew something was sort of up. I'd learned a lot. I think I've said this before, and for young people listening to this podcast, I don't care where you're at, especially if you're in the college years or others, you think you got the world mapped out. Maybe it's your first couple of years in the military. You got your path to general's already there. Yeah, right. Look at it. But don't be afraid to realize there's seasons in life. And sometimes you're not ready. And for me, if I'd become a lawyer, I believe back in the late 80s when I thought I was going to, I believe in fullness, I would have probably been divorced because sometimes ambition gets the better of you. You look beyond what you can do and handle. God knew that. And so I spent years in the ministry working with senior adults and dealing with death and dealing with a lot of issues, having children. So when I started back it opened the door. The interesting thing is for about a year and a half, I've been really feeling miserable. The minute she and I had that conversation and we decided that was the path, that I was going to leave the church, and if I got accepted, it was relief. Yeah. Because I knew it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to ask you that question, because I hear from a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people ask me questions, and that's a question that I get. People, I guess it's similar to what people would call the midlife crisis. I guess you weren't quite to midlife yet, but you were getting close. And sometimes when people get to their midlife crisis, they do really dumb things. Yeah. Like they don't share the fact that they're having some thoughts in their head with their spouse, which if you don't do that, now you end up making a move without your spouse, and you end up with real problems.
Oh yeah. Well,
so it's just a good way to face the reality of what you're feeling and where you're at and where you want to be, and doing something about it, like your wife said.
Well, it is, and it was at motion. Doing chaplaincy and being in the military and also in the civilian world. One of the things I used to tell couples when they got together, and if somebody's listening today, and look, everybody struggles, everybody has issues, there's not all great days, and you wake up in a newlywed. But I've always told them, and I stick to this: it's not how you make love, it's how you make war, and it's how you handle the difficulties. Everybody can do the other part, but it's how you handle the conversations and honest conversations between you and your spouse or you and your partner, whatever it may be. If you don't have those honest conversations and there's a relationship there that breeds that, then you're really two separate people living in the same place. And when she was backing, she's backed me completely in everything. But we went into law school. I remember making my sandwiches. I'd go down and get on the bus. I mean, we cut back everything. About a year, my first year of law school, a state house seat that I'd always dabbled in politics is another issue. I'd always been around it, and it was something I was very much interested in. It came open. And so I went to this meeting one morning, and I heard that they weren't going to be running. So I said, okay, I'll solve this. That little bug gets inside of you. And I said, I'm going to call Lisa on the way home. And so I said, Lisa, this is 2006. I said, hey, this Stacy's not going to be running, and there's going to be this seat open in North Hall. And again, here she goes again. She says, well, it might be your time. So first year of law school, I run for office, public office, state house in Georgia. And from there, it just sort of, it took on. I passed that, finished my law school in 3 years, graduated in May, took the bar in July, deployed to Iraq in August. Found out I passed the bar on Halloween in Balad, and came back, started law practice. A few years later, got elected to Congress.